Hello everyone, and welcome to our official Juniors Enter the Flipside Q&A video. I'm your host, DiceGames, the lead director for the remaster and expansion of Juniors titled Juniors Enter the Flipside. Today, the Juniors team and I will be answering questions from our fans in response to the Q&A posts we've made on our GameJolt page, our YouTube channel, community posts, and our Twitter. There were so many awesome questions that we had quite a tough time picking through them all. We truly appreciate all of your lovely answers, and we really hope that this video will excite you and shed some great light into our labor of love that we've been working on for the past 2 years. Quite a few of the Juniors team members will be answering your questions today, including myself. When answering the question, a member of the team will say a short bit about themselves, what they do on the team, and what they've enjoyed most about working on Juniors ETF. The team is truly eager to talk about work we've been doing, our processes, and the inner workings behind the scenes that we make. Without further ado, let us get into the question answering.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is PsychicDuality. I am the second director or co-director of Juniors Enter the Flipside. I actually started off in this game as a guy who was supposed to do one single task, but as I got more in depth with it, I decided this game has a lot more potential than what I was expecting, and I decided to stick along and create a lot more along the way. And I have absolutely no regrets. This game has changed me forever, and the people I work alongside with, they've changed me as well. And despite the hardships that we face, I would not have it any other way. My favorite part about working on this game definitely has to be when we stay up very late in the night trying to solve seemingly impossible problems. And this is because the feeling that we all feel after finally figuring out what it was that we were missing is such a relief. And we can all just laugh about it later on. Alright, enough about me. Let's jump into some of the questions that y'all been asking about the game. First question is from Casp, or Casp. I'm just gonna call him Casp. On a scale of 1 to 10, how different is the main game compared to the Click Team version? Well, this is a bit of a subjective question, but the main night's gameplay I would say is about a 6 or 7 on the scale of difference as compared to the Click Team game. As for the barrens, oh my god, is nothing like the Click Team game. Light years different, 10 out of 10. Question 2, also from Casp. How long is ETF in gameplay hours? Honestly, it's hard to say from where we are currently in development, but if I had to estimate, I'd say about 4 to 5 hours long. Question 3, also from Casp. Is ETF now put in place to the old barrens post-nights? Or is it after you finish the main game? ETF will be put in place at the beginning of the game, because Juniors has become the embodiment of ETF. Question 4, last one from Casp. Will there be any new post-game content besides the Night 6 Custom Night? Unfortunately, we have decided not to continue with the Night 6 Custom Night due to a variety of issues that arose, including but not limited to missing assets, the difference in render engines, and a complexity at which remaking the renders required. However, we do have plans for various other post-game content that I'm sure you all will enjoy. Question 5 from Beyond. Is ETF longer than the main game? Yes. Yes, it is. Question 6, also from Beyond. Does ETF have a good replay value? Yes, I specifically wrote a gameplay element that serves to make the main gameplay a lot more strategy based, and in turn allows for a lot more to be uncovered the more you play. Question 7, again from Beyond. Were there any inspirations for making ETF? Five Nights at... Okay, but seriously, games like Half-Life, Dead by Daylight, Alan Wake, and more have definitely been an inspiration for us. Question 8, from Beyond again. Are there any survival mechanics now in the main game? Like, do you have to defend yourself now from the animatronics? Yes, there actually is. It's a lot more simplified just so that it can go in accordance with the current gameplay. But remember that gameplay element I was talking about earlier? I won't get too specific about it, but it's because I'd like to keep its main explanation a secret. But part of it allows you to unlock unique mechanics for specific characters. Question 9, last one from Beyond. Are there any more gameplay sections besides the main office and barrens that we haven't seen yet? Yes. Yes, there is. My final question is from Mr. Abomination. After ETF, will you continue to work on the 5 series? Man, 5 has been dead. Nah, but for real, it was something that me, Wauchope, and Poetic Crusader had started for the Miyuka makers a really long time ago. Actually, like a year ago. But it was never an official Juniors byproduct, and I don't think it will be continued. I hope this cleared up some things for you guys. Stay safe, and I will see you all on the flip side.
Hello, I'm Coco. You may know me from the new T-Jog reboot in the FNaF Fanverse. I am also the lead animator for Juniors Enter the Flipside. What I love about this expansion is how alive it feels now. I simply cannot play the original like I used to, and I think it's just an enormous improvement overall in comparison. It's such a blast to animate for though. Odium Devoni asks, how different is the story this time around? Especially in regards to how Night 6 fits into everything, if this is something you can answer. Well, ETF is more an expansion on the entire main game. There's more on the line, especially when it comes to all the characters we meet. In comparison to the original though, I do think the player puts together clues and stories in their head like an actual investigation. You must explore and interact with the residents of the barrens to truly know what happened at Juniors. When it comes to Night 6 connecting to the news story, however, it's really up to you. How deep in the Flipside are you willing to wander to complete your investigation? Next question is by Hunter Allen. Will Paul Bear return? Yeah dude, he's still freaking here. This question comes from James the Jerk. Can you show the new character's fingertip? Just the fingertip. Well, James, since you asked so nicely.
Hey, I'm Ali, a designer and illustrator working as a 2D art lead for Juniors. My role consists of giving feedback on and producing assets on the 2D side of production. However, I do also work as a generalist, picking up 3D work where need be. My favourite aspect about being part of the Juniors team is the creative discussions that take place as we work on the game. We find ourselves getting lost in deeply creative and passionate conversations about the world we've moulded, and funnel that cultivated passion into the work we produce. Diana Baltimore asks, will more characters be introduced other than the main 7? Not only have we expanded the main cast of real-world characters, but when exploring the barrens, you will cross paths and converse with a whole world of spirits. Over 20 characters to discover with their own unique backgrounds, and some with their own inputs that'll help with your investigation. Archelon asks, will there be more cutscenes? It would be an understatement to say yes. I've been working alongside the infinitely talented Cringy T, FlayFright, and Monotown to carefully illustrate the intense and emotionally captivating moments within the game. I'm excited for players to witness the events that transpire throughout them. Elisa767 asks, will the toy animatronics play a big role? Sadly no. It was a painting I made to be purposed as a minor asset within the game. We teased it as we wanted to spark conversation and theories within the community. In retrospect, we probably shouldn't have, as it was misleading. But it was nice to see how many people were fooled by the painting.
Hello, my name is Element, and I'm a 3D journalist for Juniors. I mainly work in the barrens of 3D modeling, texturing, and rigging. One thing I really enjoy about working on this team is how our amazing 2D artists like Ali and FlayFright make beautiful concept art that we can easily translate to 3D space almost perfectly. Cheesecakey asks, will the Flipside be important in gameplay? Yes, after you complete a night and enter the barrens, that's where the game really opens up, and just sitting in the office, looking at the cameras. There's so much gameplay, there's so much content packed into the Flipside. It's absolutely amazing. I was actually able to work on one of the core levels of the game with the absolutely most talented there me, and I'm very excited for y'all to see it.
Hello everyone, I'm Eggu, but some people refer to me as Egg. I am the lead 3D artist of the team. I am also a level and character designer. I think, honestly, my favorite part of the game, just making character models, honestly. It's honestly just quite fun taking a bit of concept art that someone has done for the game and just turning it into a 3D model. Seeing that the concept just come to life is such a satisfying process, especially when it's done. Alrighty, the first question comes in from Les Star. I don't fully understand. Is the game now fully 3D, or is it still using 2D pre-rendered images? Hyped either way, but I still like it to remain in a pre-rendered 2D state. As much as I love how much Juniors was able to do with just a 2D engine, it was very limiting, especially for what we have planned for Juniors Enter the Flipside. In a way, we sort of outgrew Click Team, but I wouldn't get scared about that, because moving to Unreal has been very smooth, other than optimizing the models, but it has been fun doing it nonetheless. The next question comes from Creeper Hacks. Percentage of the game that you would say is completed, and is Enter the Flipside scary? Honestly, to get the second one out the way, that's sort of a personal preference thing, but honestly, I feel like it does have quite a few scares up its sleeve. But in terms of the first thing that you asked, I'd say around roughly 70%, but saying that it's 70% doesn't mean the game's almost done. As much as I would love that, game development is a very bumpy road, where you might have a very smooth ride, going down, getting progress done, like and then you just get that roadblock, halts progression. Oh, we will eventually get around that roadblock, but the whole point of me saying all of this is, even though we're at that 70% mark, it might take a little bit before we get to that 100%, if you know what I mean. The next question comes in from Alex Scott. Will Juniors be coming out this year? No, just kidding. I definitely feel like the game will be coming out this year, but as mentioned, development is a bumpy road, so we have no idea if it will definitely come out this year, so no release dates, but we're very certain it will be coming out this year. And hopefully all you lovely people watching this video will be experiencing the Flipside very soon.
Hello, I'm FlayFright. I work as a concept artist and a 2D artist for juniors and to the Flipside. Personally, I really enjoy the fact that, while it's still a FNaF Fangame, we're able to add completely original stuff that is not even connected to FNaF. Barrens feels like its own world, which makes it really fun to explore and come up with concepts for it. Question from City. Will you guys expand upon Pallbear and the Ghost's relationship with each other in this update? You'd assume so with the expansions of the Barrens. To give a short answer, yes. I think the original game lacked a lot when it comes to characters and how they interact with each other. And I can say for sure that now there will be much, much more to learn about these two. A lot of questions, a lot of answers, and a new perspective on them. Question from Average Fan. Hello, just want to ask if you all have any visual or story inspirations when working on the game. Happy New Year, man! Happy New Year! I think I speak for everyone here that when we work on this project we take a lot of stuff as inspirations. For example, I think there are some people on the team who take Half-Life as inspiration for animations, or some inspiration for character designs. I myself take a lot of inspiration from my favorite horror series, Little Nightmares. It's really fun to mix all the styles together and see how it all turns into something unique and special.
What's up, homies? It's me, 3FS, also known as Max. What I do on the juniors team is I make some of the music and sound effects, and by some of the music, sometimes it's everything, sometimes nothing. Kinda just depends on what the team gives me. One thing I do like about working on juniors is the fact that, like, a lot of games don't let me get this much creative freedom when it comes to making music. Like, I got a bunch of ideas running through my head, and some games like, alright, frick off. But juniors team is like, run rampant. Do what you can, go crazy, and I like this a lot. At Nathan White-S3Q. Out of everything made in the original game, what was the hardest to make? Everything made in the original game. I'm pretty sure that you may already know the answer to this one. The final boss fight mango track, I think, took me 2 weeks. There was a first draft I had made that, you know, the team liked, but eventually after some people listened to it, they're like, yo, this like sounds like it came out the Avengers. I didn't really mess with this. I was like, okay. And then the second draft ended up being what stuck in the final game, but there was a lot of revisions that came to that one. That one was just like day by day, thing by thing. I had to like map that one out in my head, man. That one was tough. And honestly, that's like just a really extended version of like everything I do when it comes to music. I'll just like map it out in my head, like get a little vision of what I want. Usually whenever I make music, pro tip here, get like an image or a little video, or like if you're working with a team, have them send you like a storyboard or just an image to fit the vibe of. It helps out by 1 trillion points. It's insane. I would say that track definitely, because I had a picture of the mangle I was going off of at the time, I think, and some really rough like Blender animations that I was going off of. That helps so immensely. And if you know what's going on like story-wise, that's crazy too. But that helped out so great in being able to form this world of sound around this visual, because that's really what you're doing with music. You're just really forming an imaginary world with noise. And if you do it good enough, a lot of people will like it. So yeah, on to the next question, or on to the next team member answering the next question, because I don't think I got any more questions. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Halsey. I'm one of the many character animators on Juniors Enter the Flipside. This project has been absolutely incredible privilege to work on, and being able to expand the initial world of one of the coolest Five Nights at Freddy's fan games has been nothing short of an honor. I look forward to showing all of you my work on both the main nights and the Barrens. Angus Beef at I'm a Noob 144 asks, will the Mangle boss fight and the main night gameplay be improved? I can say with absolute confidence that the main nights have had a huge improvements in both visuals and mechanics. Mangle boss fight, while still be giving less treatment, still gets an awesome visual update. Thank you to the Juniors team for this incredible opportunity, and thank you to this game's awesome following for being so interested in our project.
Hi, my name is Bluesteel. I am a 2D and 3D artist on the Juniors team. I'm currently attending college for video game design, and I am a relatively new person on the team. Being on the team so far has been a great experience and has been helpful to both my personal and schoolwork. One thing I like about working on Juniors is the art I've been able to create for the game, and the skills I have learned with my time in the team. From 2D art to 3D animations, I've had a blast doing it all. The first question I'm answering comes from Winter Bunny. They ask, is this a sequel to Juniors, or is it a spin-off, or is it something else? Juniors Into the Flipside is not a sequel. It is an expansion to the original game. It adds new characters and gameplay to both the main and post-night sections, while also building on both the world and the story of Juniors. The second question I'm answering comes from Matvey. Firstly, they asked, will Juniors ETF be very different from the original game? In some aspects, yes. Others, no. The core unique gameplay of Juniors is still present, but we have added many additions to both the story and gameplay to spice up the game. The game will feel very different in some aspects, but it will feel significantly better overall. Secondly, they asked, will the transition of the original Juniors to Unreal Engine 5 be before the release of Juniors ETF, or will it come out with it? The transition to Unreal Engine 5 has already happened, so the game will release as the Unreal 5 version. With the change to Unreal 5, we greatly broadened our horizons. The visual quality of the game speaks for itself. The game looks stunning in Unreal 5, and we're all so excited to show all of you once it releases.
Hey, I'm Syro. I'm a pixel artist for Juniors Enter the Flipside, and I will be assisting in creating pixel sprites for sections that you'll be experiencing in the full release of Juniors Enter the Flipside. And although I haven't worked on the team long, I will say that I do enjoy my time working for the game. The crew is very easy to talk and work with, which I always appreciate in projects like this. Anyways, I'll be answering this question from user Vanblit, as he writes, quote, is that a new boss on slide 3? This refers to the third pick on the original Q&A post showing new images for Enter the Flipside, with the third image showing a shrouded figure. And I can confirm myself that the character here isn't anything new. All you really need to know is that it's just a render of Mangle, as it's just a nice image to tease the new content that will be in Enter the Flipside and its updated version of the original Juniors.
Hey, I'm Dedlus. I'm a programmer and generalist for Juniors. I was originally brought on as a tester, but fairly recently joined the main development team. Now I'm doing all sorts of in-engine things as well as the occasional out-of-engine work. It's been really great working with these guys. I love how we're all sort of just like a big friend group coming together to make this passion project. We're all really just here for the fun of it, so we all love the work we do, and it's been great to hop in calls with these guys to get some stuff done. So Dylan MAA4A asked, what is Into the Flipside about and what animatronics will be in it? Well, I'd say it's like a more in-depth look at Junior's past, what actually happened and started everything. There are lots of new characters and so many interactions to be had. As for animatronics, the entire base game's cast is returning, but there are some newcomers, some of which might have already seen. Thanks for the question, Dylan.
I was playing Juniors on stream last night and this happened.
Hi, my name is DiscoHead. I'm the lead optimization artist for Juniors Enter the Flipside. My job is to take the character models from the original game and optimize them so they're ready to be put into a 3D game engine. Now, what does this mean? Well, the original Juniors was made in the ClickTeam engine, which uses pre-rendered images of the characters and environments, as opposed to actual 3D models in a 3D space. This means the original models weren't really meant to be put into a real-time 3D game engine because they're so high poly and would lag the game like crazy if we just settled with that. Thankfully, I was brought onto the team to optimize those high poly cinematic models into low poly game ready models while keeping the same level of detail. I optimized all of the models for the original characters, the office room, and the new back room. My favorite thing about working on Juniors was just how much I learned, not just in my field, but I learned a lot about what everyone else was doing. You know, their methods, their workflows, their insight. Everyone worked so close with each other and communicated what they were doing really well, so it was great to be in that kind of environment. One of our comments from Nathan White S3Q asks, out of everything made in the original game, what was the hardest to make? Well, a lot of our team for Enter the Flipside doesn't actually consist of people who worked on the original game, so it's hard to say. For the new stuff, on the other hand, there were two things that were particularly difficult to do. One of them was optimization, which was mainly my job. Those original files were such a pain to deal with and work around. It was such a nightmare, but eventually we pulled through in the end. The other big hurdle to cross was making deepfakes. When the project was handed over to the new team, some of the files were lost along the way. This means new camera renders we had to make using deepfakes of additional characters onto the old renders for the cameras, since we no longer had the Blender files for parts of the map. Lost files had become a bit of a meme during development as we slowly found out just how much we had to remake for the game.
Hello, I'm Jay, or Jayie. I primarily work on optimizing models for juniors, mainly taking a very dense and high poly model and remaking it with much lower poly count, while still preserving all the details, mostly for Night 6. I think my favorite thing working on juniors is seeing how far I can optimize each model by using different techniques for each one, kinda like a puzzle, to make them look the best I can, whilst making them as optimized as possible. Now, onto the question from Sirium06, who asks, what of the base game has been changed, and what is the most important one, and will Night 6 be different in this new version? Well, since the game is now in 3D, we've been able to add a lot more to the nights in terms of mechanics, with one of the major changes being with haunting, which has been greatly expanded upon throughout all the nights. Since we are no longer limited to static 2D images, but are now in a full 3D scene, we do a lot more with animations and effects. For example, in Night 6, there are a lot of really cool animations that utilize characters in new ways that gives it a bit more of a wow factor, you could say, which I'm really looking forward to seeing in the final game. A slight mechanic change we made for Night 6 is that Balloon Baby now appears in both vents and can be sent away using the vent light. However, throughout all the changes we've made, I think the most important change we've done is to the barrens, in which we've created a whole new area to explore that more than triples the content of the original barrens, which has been really fun seeing the progress of. Thank you for your question, Sirium06.
Hello, my name is Xander Alsip. I'm the lead sound designer for Juniors Into the Flipside. One thing I absolutely love about working on this project is being able to contribute so heavily to a game that I absolutely love, as I am a new face on the Juniors team and was brought on for the development of this new content. It's been my favorite fan game ever since it came out, it still is, and being able to work on it is truly an honor. With that being said, @IanBrady20 asks, will there be voice acting? And the short answer is yes. And the reason I'm reading this one to you is, I will be fulfilling a voice acting role within the game, so huge thanks to Dice and Psychic for that amazing opportunity. And thank you, Ian Brady, for your wonderful question.
Hello everyone, my name is Septimus and I'm an animator for Juniors Enter the Flipside, and whether it's animating characters for the barrens or animating for the main nights, I really enjoy what I do, and one of my favorite aspects of working on Juniors are the amazing and talented people that I have met from this team, and seeing everyone's work, and mine included, come to fruition in this amazing light from this opportunity has been absolutely wonderful to see over the past few years. I'm extremely excited for the game to release because this is one of my first times working and using my talent for a more professional context, and it's been amazing so far. Without further ado, I think it is time to get into the questions. 0410 Mark on Game Jolt asks, any new enemies besides Springtrap? Well, the best way to put it is that the barrens will no longer be safe. Martin Mercenary on Twitter asked, will there be behind the scenes videos after the release? Not only will there be a full behind the scenes video, our teammates are encouraged to make their own behind the scenes videos. These videos will let them go more in depth into what they've contributed to the game, such as animations, paintings, or coding.
Hello, I am CRUST, or Pizza Crust. I'm the pixel artist for Juniors Enter the Flipside. That's about it. The main thing I really like about working on Juniors is definitely working with the character designs, because Juniors has a very specific style that is just like unique from, I'd say, like any other FNaF fan game or like any fan material like ever. It just has a very unique style, and the character designs especially reflect that. And so even though I have a very small role to play in kind of just working with these characters, it's fun trying to replicate the style and work with anything I can, basically. So that's definitely my favorite thing about working on this game, I'd say. Here we have a question from Boxo Hobo. Funny name. They're basically asking, will the old build of Junior's current state, in parentheses, still be available to play once Flipside drops, or will it replace the original version entirely? I guess the main thing is that yes, it will remain up. though the page will be updated to reflect Enter the Flipside being released, but the old build will entirely remain alongside with that. That is basically the answer to this question.
Yo, what's good everyone? My name is Ryden. I'm primarily a 3D artist and animator on Juniors, but I also help out wherever else I can if I'm not being lazy. So I've been on the team actually before the release of the base game, and I've been really happy to see the DLC kind of shape its way and become something super unique. I think the community is going to really enjoy it, and the entire team should be proud of anything they've done so far. Off the bat, sorry if I butcher this, but Jirakuba XD asks, is the game going to be as long as the base game, and will there be new lore too? And what half of the year do we expect the release? So the Flipside easily blows the content in the base game out of the water, and with that there's a lot of new lore for people to dissect and kind of figure out. We're planning on a late 2025 release, but just give us the time, it'll be worth it. Line Missile 1070 also asks, what is you and the dev team's design philosophy when it came to designing the animatronics? So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not Derek, so let me just text him real quick and get an answer.
The designs were my own take on the characters at the time, given the prompts I was given. They're truly my style at heart, but they definitely aren't one of my best works.
Peter, the horse is here.
Hello, I am Nine Motora. I am one of the many talented texture artists working on Juniors Enter the Flipside. You'll see most of my work in the Barrens, but I did make this hanger for the overworld area. You'll likely never find it. One thing that I quite enjoy working on Juniors is, well, they gave me this horse head. That's number one. But number two, I like how we're allowed to get very experimental with certain elements in the Barrens. Things that I don't think I'm allowed to talk about right now, but I'm pretty sure you'll see it once the game comes out, once you get your hands on it. Now then, I have been asked to answer a few questions, so let's put them here. Nightmarish Sands asks, will there be a Juniors 2? Marius Fernandez 9977 asks, is there a possibility that Juniors will have a sequel? Not tech... We do have plans for something post Enter the Flipside, but it won't have much of anything to do with FNaF as a whole. But what I will say is that if you like what you see in Enter the Flipside, stick around. I'm pretty sure you'll like what we have in store. And the final question I've got comes from Goldens-QC6PJ. Is there a Kickstarter or Pace to support the project? Would love to. No. Unfortunately, no. Because this is a passion project, and also because of a variety of legal reasons, no one is going to be making any money off of this. But if you do want to support us, just spread the word. You know, whenever news comes out, share it with your friends, family. Share it with your dog. He probably likes Juniors. But yeah, the best thing that you can do for us is to just make sure that the word gets out. And that's all I got.
Hi, I'm Artist Monster. I'm a 2D and 3D artist here on the Juniors team. I've concepted a lot of stuff for the upcoming Barrens renovations. I've contributed a lot of feedback to the game as a whole. I'd have to say my favorite part about working on Juniors has to be the workflow and the dev community. There's not been a game where I've enjoyed joining the work VC more than I have with Juniors. Not only is it almost always productive, but it's fun and it's positive, which cannot be understated. To like to work on a project because of the people you're working with is truly a gift. And I'm thankful to all the team members for it. Specifically on the workflow side of things, if anyone has an idea, let's say for something really small, like the positioning of a mannequin in Night 6, not only is their idea not overlooked, but it's discussed in depth because we love hearing each other's ideas because it always leads to something new, which is It's honestly a brilliant experience to be on a team where there's constantly innovation coming in and out of VCs because of the little things. It's beautiful, it truly is. And it's great that everyone gets to have their ideas heard. It's because of this workflow and the dev community and how we work with each other that not only do we know, but hopefully the community will be able to tell that we truly have passion in this project, and it is a passion project. It's because of this wonderful workflow and how we work with each other as a team that I know, and I think the rest of the team knows, that this truly is a passion project. We could feel it. We love what we do. And hopefully the community will be able to tell the same. I truly think you guys are going to be impressed with what's to come. The first question comes from Kiro. Will there be more behind the scenes of Mangle? The model is too fascinating, but very little images in good quality. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I think almost every model on Juniors is super interesting, but there's barely any documentation on it. Luckily, that is going to change with the new DLC. With the conversion to the new engine and all the content that's being made in general, there is a ton of behind the scenes work and screenshots we have to share with the community now, and all of them have been kept in pristine condition. So to answer your question, yes, the Mangle is definitely going to have more extras content and behind the scenes content, along with everyone else. The next question comes from K. Rieger or Krieger, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. They ask, do you love Juniors?
I love Juniors! The Mangle boss fight was sick!
Fuck yeah, dude, that was the tits!
You're too kind, really. It wasn't anything much.
No, like, actually, that was kind of, like, fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, before you said that, I was actually in a really bad mood, but now I'm just pumped.
That's actually great to hear. I'm glad that I could make your day a little bit
I was gonna kill my girlfriend's aunt.
What?
Yeah, but now I'm not because you made me feel all better, man.
What?
Woo! I love Juniors, man, yeah! What a riot! Alright, back to the Q&A.
No, you can't just go back to the Q&A. Everyone heard.
As you all probably know by now, hi, I'm DiceGames, or you can call me Max. I've been the lead director for Juniors Enter the Flipside for 2.5 years now, after the base game was handed over to me to be taken care of. My major roles involve directing, music composition, modeling, writing, concepting, and most importantly, sourcing the right people for the tasks at hand. Juniors Enter the Flipside has been a game with many ups and downs, as well as many times where it could have been cancelled. Nonetheless, through perseverance and love for the project, we have been able to assemble one of the most creative and dedicated fangame teams I have ever had the pleasure of working with. It's an incredibly rewarding process to be working alongside such talented people and becoming incredible friends in the process. Our first question comes from Baps on Twitter. They asked, since I'm assuming it's being built from the ground up again, does this mean that the entire game we have now is being remade in addition to having new content, or something else entirely? The answer is yes. It is a full 3D remaster and an expansion of the original game. For some context, Enter the Flipside originally just started out as a DLC for the Click Team version of Juniors, where we only just planned to add an expansion to the barrens. However, our plans outgrew the limitations that Click Team imposed on us, leading us to make a tough call about 1 year into development, to remake it from the ground up in a 3D engine. What was once just plans to make a town with just a few NPCs to talk with has now become a sprawling landscape with many layers to explore, in addition to a whole new catalog of residents to meet. Plans did not just include improving the barrens, but also the game itself. With Enter the Flipside, you can look forward to many improvements, additions, and adjustments based on the largest criticisms stated about the original game. Our next question comes from Gender Neutron on GameJolt. Hey Jen, they asked, is the Barrens completely linear, or are there any side quests? Any hints for new changes behind the gameplay? And has scope creep been an issue? The Barrens is pretty expansive, so you can choose to visit many areas and really sink your teeth into the story. Most of the new content that is introduced in ETF takes place there, including the way you reach new endings. While there is a linear path you can follow when playing from one night to the next, there are things the player can do in between the nights that break off that path, such as learning more about the story. For the gameplay question, the game itself now more centrally revolves around the idea of being in the shoes of a paranormal investigator. In all aspects of the game, we truly want the player to feel like they are the investigator and continue to go deeper into into the rabbit hole of both the story and the game itself. Additionally, we plan to overhaul the main nights quite a bit. Visually, the backroom has been updated as seen via the Arrival teaser showcased at the Max Mode charity livestream event in August 2024, hosted by AstralSpiff and the Bones 5. The backroom repairs are totally new now, in addition to a new game-changing mechanic that will give the player a way to sort of fight back against the ghost. As for scope creep, I will not be ashamed to admit that scope creep has absolutely been something we've struggled with. However, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing, as we've been able to accomplish most of our goals so far. The scope of the game and size of the team has increased so much that ETF houses roughly 3 times the content of the original. Nonetheless, our team is passionate and dedicated, so we will get it done one way or the other. Our third question comes from Error Fredbear on GameJolt. They asked, what is the plan for Junior's DLC that will have an Android port? Plus, this DLC will use Unreal Engine 5, so will the Android port be deleted? Unfortunately, we regret to inform you that the Android port has been canned due to us moving to Unreal Engine 5. While we were in Click Team, we figured this would have been doable. It would have most likely been doable, though in hindsight, it was a lot of work since the Firefly extension Juniors uses is not translatable to Android, at least not easily. But for the current version of Enter the Flipside, we realized we prefer to focus only on the full PC release as opposed to ports at this time. We may revisit this in the future, but at this time there will sadly not be an Android port as promised beforehand. The final question of the video comes from Flaming Record 2598 on YouTube. They asked, what will be next after ETF is complete? A new original game or more FNaF Fangames? Our team has bonded so much over the past 2 years creating Juniors Enter the Flipside, so it would be more than remiss to disband after this game releases. We don't have any plans to make more FNaF Fangames, as we would prefer to make original projects instead that we can profit off of. However, we do have plans to expand our team further and make many original projects in the near future, with some already in planning. We are an ambitious team, but without ambition, we wouldn't have reached where we are now. Juniors ETF is merely the beginning and hopefully a long journey of future games to follow.
Hey guys, it's me, DiceGames, aka Maxwell. Sorry for the voice, been playing a lot of Fortnite, been yelling, I've got sick during recordings, but thank you to Junior community for your endless support and your patience towards our development. I love Five Nights at Freddy's, it's a great game I worked hard on. Well, see you on the flip side.